Childhood best friend turned my entire community against me over a lie she told about me being in love with her fiancé. Then discovered the truth. Now I'm trying to make sense of everything that's happened. When I, a 26-year-old female, was 5 years old, my family moved, and our next-door neighbors had a girl my age named Bella, 27F. We immediately connected and grew up as thick as thieves. Our families were also close. I moved a couple of hours away for college while Bella stayed home. She would come visit me frequently, stay with me, and we had great times together. I met Barrett, 26M, in an economics class during our sophomore year and realized we had a lot of friends in common. He was a smart, attractive guy, so we ended up hooking up a few times after study sessions. It was fun, but there wasn't really any long-term chemistry, so we remained friends. We never even talked about dating. We weren't close after that, but we were on group text threads together and saw each other frequently at parties. I introduced Bella to Barrett at a party during our senior year, and it was love at first sight for her. She interrogated me about him, and I informed her of our history. She seemed pretty upset that we had hooked up, but I assured her there was absolutely nothing romantic there and that she had my blessing to pursue him. She did, and after a few months, they started officially dating. She was over the moon, and I was happy she was happy. After graduating, I accepted a job 6 hours away from home. Shortly afterward, Bella and Barrett moved in together in my hometown. I visited them frequently at first, but life got busy, so we ended up seeing each other only annually during the holidays. Last Christmas, my family hosted a Christmas Eve party with our two families, and Barrett proposed to Bella. It was a heartfelt proposal, and everybody was thrilled for them. Bella wanted to talk about nothing but wedding planning that holiday, and we had tons of fun brainstorming ideas together. There were no signs of what was to come over the next few months. I expected to be formally asked to be Bella's maid of honor. She had mentioned this over the holidays, but the ask never came. She started screening my calls, and finally, I received a save the date in the mail, but still hadn't heard from her about whether I was in the wedding. I called her and asked. She told me that she had thought it through and didn't think I should be in the wedding at all because I lived so far away. She said it would make coordinating bridal events too difficult. She was making her cousin, who she doesn't even like, her maid of honor. I was pretty hurt by this. I was her closest and oldest friend. I introduced her to her fiancé, and I was friends with him too. I told her I could get the time off work, buy plane tickets, whatever was required of me to participate. I didn't think it was going to be as challenging as she thought. She shrugged this off and instead directed the conversation to whether I was going to bring someone to the wedding. I was a bit confused by this question because I had just gone through a bad breakup and she knew all about what had happened. I told her that since I wasn't seeing anybody currently, I'd probably attend solo. She told me she would keep my +1 open until the last possible minute and encouraged me to try to find a date, so I wouldn't be lonely. I thought this was a nice gesture, but reassured her that with my family present and tons of mutual friends from college in our hometown, I'd be fine. The next few months passed without much incident. I didn't hear much from Bella. I probably could have reached out more, but I was still stinging a bit from not being asked to be in her wedding party. I also saw on social media that she had an engagement party that she hadn't told me about or invited me to, which also hurt, but I didn't say anything. I figured we were just growing apart. It happens to. Then, 6 weeks prior to the wedding, I got a call from Bella. She told me that one of her bridesmaids had dropped out and that she was hoping I could fill in. I wouldn't be going to any of the events, as those were already booked, but I would be in the wedding party. I was thrilled and relieved and accepted immediately. She told me she was doing a reverse color palette for the bridal party, where all of the bridesmaids and groomsmen were wearing white, and she and the groom were wearing black. This didn't seem that strange. Bella has always liked to stand out with unconventional tastes. She apologized for the late notice and asked if I could find a white dress in time. I already had a white slip dress that would work, so I sent her a picture of it on the call to see if it would work. She verbally approved it and tagged it with a thumbs up on the text chain. This will be important later. The wedding was at noon, so we were supposed to meet for hair and makeup at the venue at 8 a.m. I left my parents' house early, arrived in sweats with my dress in a bag, and greeted Bella and the other girls. We had fun drinking champagne and getting ready. About 2 hours before the ceremony, Bella told everybody to put on our dresses so we could do some pictures. I grabbed my bag and went into the bathroom to change and tweak my makeup. When I re-entered the room, every last bridesmaid was in a blue dress. I was the only one in white. My stomach dropped. My mind raced back to the conversation I had with Bella. She had said white, right? I hadn't misheard. No, I was certain she had called out the reverse color scheme. I had Googled it. No, this was a setup. Bella was in the middle of the room in a bathrobe, with a resigned look on her face. She said to her cousin, "I told you she was going to do something like this." Her cousin approached me and asked what I was wearing. I mumbled that Bella had told me to wear white. Bella didn't even blink. She stared back, huffed out a laugh, and said something about how, of course, I would have to make today all about me. The cousin started screaming at me, accusing me of being jealous and in love with Barrett, and called me completely unhinged. Honestly, I froze in that moment. I was so spun around by how quickly everything had gone from great to, I couldn't even find the words to defend myself. Eventually, I stammered out that I had another dress at my parents' house and could go home and change. Bella said something like, "I think we both know that this is the end of our friendship. I've given you too many chances. It's time for you to go." I started to cry. I didn't really know what was happening or what she was talking about, but I knew that whatever was going on was really bad. Finally, my legs started to work again, and I fled. I left all my things at the venue and just ran to my car and went home, sobbing in the white dress. About half an hour later, my phone blew up with texts from nearly everyone in my life telling me that I was bitter, that I was it, that I needed to grow up and get over my jealousy, asking how I could do that to Bella. Even my mother sent me a text telling me how disappointed she was in me and that we would talk when they got home. I did what any rational person would do in the situation. I broke into my parents' liquor cabinet and got drunk. As a result, when my parents finally arrived home, the conversation was somewhat confused. My dad wouldn't even look at me, and my mom and I kept talking past each other. She outright didn't believe that I had been told to wear white, and I didn't understand why. Then, finally, she said something like, "Because of everything else that happened." I was like, "What are you talking about? What does that mean?" And she said, "You know, your ultimatum to Bella." The next few hours revealed the truth. Over the last several months, Bella had been building a fiction with nearly everyone in my life that I was mentally unstable and madly in love with Barrett. She had concocted a web of outlandish tales and systematically poisoned my family and friends against me. My boyfriend apparently dumped me because of my feelings for Barrett. Lie. He cheated and I dumped him. I told Bella that she needed to choose between me and Barrett. Never happened. I told Bella that I couldn't be in the wedding party because I couldn't support her marriage, given that Barrett was meant for me. Lie. I had a major meltdown before the engagement party, and that's why I wasn't there. Lie. On and on, lies on top of lies. In all of these stories, Bella has painted herself as the patient, long-suffering friend trying to deal with a friend clearly going through a tough time. She expressed understanding for my unrequited love for Barrett and empathized with how hard it must be for me to see her marry the love of my life. She's made great efforts to try to sustain our friendship despite how complicated the situation is. The lie has been going on for so long that my mom literally didn't believe me. Finally, I grabbed my phone, handed it to her, and told her to go through my text messages with Bella. I asked her to show me any evidence of any of that happening. It was when she was scrolling through our messages that she froze. She turned to me and said, "She really did that." I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders as everything started to click into place. But I'm so mad. All of this happened because of one lie. One stupid, horrible lie. And it's cost me a friendship, my reputation with my own family, and a wedding. I feel like I'm the victim in all of this. But how do I get my life back together? Bella and Barrett's wedding was last weekend, and I received a few texts asking if I was going to make it to the wedding after all. I sent a long text explaining that I'm not coming, and neither is my family. I don't plan on attending.